welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the Trekitt Service Centre. My name's Jake, I'm the assistant manager here, and I'm going to be talking through some of my favourite lightweight pieces of kit for an overnighter. Now at Trekitt, we all pride ourselves on being outdoor experts, and myself, I definitely have more of a passion in sort of lightweight backpacking and through hiking. So hence why today I'm going to be talking you through some of my favourite pieces of kit, from equipment all the way to clothing, and you'll follow me upstairs and we'll go to our equipment showroom as we break down everything. So now we've grabbed everything for our sort of lightweight overnighter. You could go into a bit more of a multi-day if you wanted to. There's a few things I probably wouldn't pack if I was going to go truly ultralight, but it's that balance between Rightweight and lightweight. So let's clear the table and go through a few things and just keep an eye out for that gram counter as we go through each item. So now I'm going to go through my sort of layering system from bottom to top, and from there I'll also show you how I'd pack it into my rucksack and sort of pack it nice and small. To start off with, I'll always go with my trusty Ultra Lone Peak 9 Pluses. These have been a personal favourite for quite a while now. They've been my go-to from anything from sort of through hiking in Snowdonia, doing a bit of scrambling, slight bit of climbing as well, to sort of multi-days across Switzerland, bit of everything. They've got a great Vibram sole unit, and for myself, that kind of barefoot zero drop feel has been a game changer. But I'd always pair that with a set of Injinji toe socks as well. Super personal, but again, for me, that's really worked. I find I can walk hundreds of miles in them, in and out of water, and just no blisters. At the end of the day, my feet are happy. I'm tired, but that works as a sort of a nice layering system for my feet. Then moving up, I'll go with a set of trail running shorts. These are the Nerona Senya 9-inch trail runners. I like these myself because you've got loads of pockets, sort of foam pocket on the back, loads of gel pockets where I tend to put snacks and electronics. You've even got a pass-through for, say, your windproof or your waterproof. And for me, they've done great over thousands of miles. I'm still on my first pair, and they're just still going so strong. But with those, I'll also pair them with a set of Sax underwear. Personal once again, but this system seems to really work for me, especially on those longer days. Chafing's always a bit of an issue for people, but having that system has done the job for myself and works wonders. So I'll pop the shorts to the side with those, and we'll go on to my top half. Now, as a base layer, I used to wear sort of your basic merinos, and now I've moved to something like a sun hoodie. Personally, I found these have been game changers. Super light, really breathable, an element of sun protection as well. And then the big thing, having a hood, so even in the wind, you can just throw that on, a bit more protective, and having loose fitting sleeves that you can just roll up when it does get too warm. These have been great, and this one is from Nerona. Again, super lightweight, really comfortable. And if I'm not wearing it, say I'm wearing my sleep layers, I'll then just roll that into the hood and packs down to absolutely nothing. So that is my base layer. And then moving on to kind of my mid layer, I'll often choose some form of high loft fleece. Again, this one's from Nerona. There are a few brands doing similar fabrics like Polartec Alpha or Primaloft Evolve. But this one is actually using their own Warm One fabric, which is fully recycled, super breathable, and that's definitely the big thing for me. So I can either wear it standalone, breathes really nicely, wicks the sweat away, or I can throw my shell over the top, and it's often warmer than my down layers. And because of the nature of this fabric, the weight to warmth is really impressive. And again, packs down super small. This one doesn't have a hood, but you can still kind of roll it away into your rucksack. You won't even notice it's there. And that's kind of my base layer, mid layer layering system. Now for the colder nights, or even those sort of colder trips where you just need something extra, I've gone with the Rab Mythic G. Now this is sort of one of the top tier down jackets that we sell. You've got 1000 fill power down, 7 denier fabrics, and again, packs down to nothing. And especially with that tilt lining in the winter, it'll warm up super quick. You've got a windproof outer as well, so it's kind of great in the evenings or when that weather comes in. Now, if I was packing this in my rucksack, again, it would go into its hood or the included stuff sack. I find I prefer to just roll things away and then it all fits in nicely to the pack. So that's my down jacket as well, just there. And then finally, I'd throw on a waterproof as well. So this is the Montane Minimus Nano pull-on. This is super, super lightweight, really minimal, as the name implies, and you do just have that one pullover zip with a double zip for venting. This is definitely not your most durable waterproof, but as an emergency layer, something a bit more packable, it does the job really well. And again, rolling into its own hood, you won't notice it's in your pack. And this has been a bit of a game changer from trail running all the way to through hiking in Scotland. It's amazing what these lightweight layers can do if you wear them in the right time. And that's kind of my full layering system. And then on top of that, I'll normally grab a trail running hat like this one from Varga and a set of glasses. These are my sort of Oakley radars. Any polarized pair will do. And that's kind of my full layering system there. So next up will be sort of shelter. And for that, I've chosen a trekking pole tent. This one in particular is the String Ridge VST 1.5 by Big Agnes. I chose this because trekking pole tents are always that little bit lighter. You're doing a bit of a multi-use item with the trekking poles. And from personal experience, equally storm-worthy than most of the sort of freestanding tents out there. Now, this one in particular, we've actually done a YouTube video sort of deep dive on. So feel free to check that out. We'll attach that up in the corner. But yeah, brilliant tent. But on top of that, I'd always pair it with a footprint as well. As with anything lightweight, you just want to care for it a bit better. A footprint for marginal extra cost is always worth it. It just protects the tent from the ground, adds an element more waterproofing and warmth, and for, again, minimal pack size, really does prolong the lifespan of the product itself. Now, the tent already comes with some dirt daggers from Big Agnes, but I'm always going to say to people to bring some extras, have a play, see what it comes with. You might want some longer pegs, stronger pegs, or just extra spares. And I'd probably do the same with some extra guy lines as well, just for peace of mind for those longer trips. Now, a trekking pole tent isn't much good without some trekking poles. So for that, I've chosen a set of Z-fold carbon poles. Now these in particular are the Makalu FX Carbons by Lecky. They're really nice lightweight sets that adjust to the perfect height for myself, and when I'm not using them, they'll either go into my bottle pocket on my rucksack or attached onto sort of any elastic on there as well. So that is my shelter. Now, going into my shelter is my sleep system, and kind of similar to the tent, I'll always have something to protect my sleeping mat. This in particular is from OMM, ideally meant for ultra running and kind of ultra marathons, but you can use it as a really nice packable alternative to sort of an extra piece of ground sheet, adds some warmth, adds a bit more durability as well. And then on top of that, I'd have the Xbed Ultra 3R. This is their new design, a little bit lighter, a bit softer and quieter as well. And then this in particular is a 3R value, which is brilliant for this time of year, sort of summer, bordering into sort of spring and autumn as well. And you can definitely push these below the freezing limit if paired with the right mat underneath. Now, along with that, bit of a personal opinion, but I think quilts are always the best option. They're going to be lighter than the retrospective sort of sleeping bags. And I found just personally, I sleep better with that extra space to move. This one in particular is probably a little bit too warm for the sleep system, having sort of a -6 comfort limit. But the nice thing about quilts is you can just open them up if you're not sort of needing to, or when it's really cold, just cinch them around you. And this one in particular from Nemo, having sort of 1000 fill power down, ultralight fabrics, it just packs away to nothing. So quite often I'll pick this over more summer specific sleeping bags and quilts because it's still the same weight and I know that I'm going to have a better night's sleep with it. Now, again, kind of personal, but pillows and liners come into play. I'm someone who likes a bit more comfort, especially when I'm doing these longer trips. And things like the Philo Elites from Nemo, again, are ultralight, but really comfortable for the weight. And these can easily be paired with a nice warm liner. So I've actually chosen a Polartec Alpha liner here. Brilliant warmth to weight, much like the fleece over there. And this will actually add between 5 and 10 degrees of warmth to your sleep system. So again, quite a warm sleep system here, but it's changeable. I'd even go as far to say, as in the summer, you could just run just the liner, and then when you need to, you've got the quilt as a backup in your bag. But that's kind of my ultralight sleeping shelter of what I'd pack for a multi-day or sort of an overnighter. Definitely more on the lightweight side, but still comfortable. Okay, so next up will be sort of my cooking and hydration. Now, if I start with cooking, for my stove, I've chosen the Primus Micron 3. Now, it's one of the lighter stoves that we stock. Really, really minimal, but you've still got a wide burner head, arms that fold away, and when folded correctly, packs down to absolutely nothing in your cook kit. And I'd pair that with something like the MSR Titan kettle. Made out of titanium, it's about as lightweight as a pot this size will go. This is 900 ml, so I can often do a meal for myself, maybe even a friend, and coffees as well, or any other drinks we fancy. So with that, I'd normally go for something like 100 grams of gas. This will last me roughly a week on trail of sort of boiling 2 or 3 times a day. Depending how you use your gas, this might be closer to sort of 3 days, it might even be longer than a week. But this would all nestle inside of my kettle there. I'd probably pair that with something like a buff to stop it rattling. And that would be my sort of cook kit in my pack. I'd then have something like a titanium mug, again from MSR, super lightweight, a few extra comfortable features like silicone to stop you from burning your lips. Those two together weigh nothing, but immensely increase the sort of comfort at camp. Now for food, I'll always choose sort of dehydrated meals. These are actually freeze-dried, so they're a little bit more tasty than sort of your bog standard. And I'll often go for at least a breakfast and a dinner, sometimes a lunch as well. So I've gone with the sort of granola and raspberries, and then beef stroganoff and rice. These are sort of 2 personal favourites myself, but you'll often find to actually eat with them, you want something like a long-handled spoon. So this is from Sea to Summit, super, super lightweight, and that will allow me to reach into the bag without getting any sort of food on my hands. So that's all of my cooking and sort of eating there. Now, on trail, water can be quite a difficulty sometimes, so that's why I'll often bring something like a filter. So you can get like the Salomon XA filter here, super light again, and that will actually go into some of the chest pockets on rucksacks. Packs away to nothing and allows you to just scoop and drink. But if I'm going for a longer trip, I might want to be filtering more water at the same time. So something like the Platypus, being able to just screw on, filter a litre at a time, really, really handy, and I can just pack it away. I know my filter's separate to the bottles I'm drinking from. So between those two, depends on the trip I'm doing, but both great options for filtering. And then as far as bottles go, you can't really go wrong with just an Nalgene. Really durable, they'll last years and years, and where they're BPA free, just a little bit better for yourself and the environment if you're overusing them. That's sort of my go-to for hydration as well. So that's everything I'd pack for sort of food, hydration, and sort of nourishment as well. So now that we've kind of gone through everything I'm packing with me, obviously we've got to pack it into something. So for that, I chose the Black Diamond Betalight 45. Now this is one of our ultralight Dyneema fabric rucksacks. Really, really minimal, but at the same time you can get an awful lot in there, featuring sort of roll top, extra pockets, and a big thing for me, storage on the outside, so I can get to, say, the filters, my layers a little bit easier. I've actually got one unpacked just here. Without anything in, these weigh sort of sub 1 kilo, really, really lightweight, but down to the roll top nature and the fabrics they use, it'll actually almost be fully waterproof when rolled at least 3 times. So you've got taped seams, sort of nice lightweight fabrics, and again, minimal feature set to allow for sort of faster movement, without having to worry about straps and pockets everywhere. But talking about straps and pockets, you do have a running style vest. For me personally, I find traditional shoulder straps tend to rub, quite bony in my collarbones. So something like a running vest just gives me that bit better support, lets me move a bit more freely, and then you also tend to get more storage on the outside again. Now with the Betalight in particular, lots of features are strippable, so you can strip all of the compression, you can strip the frame and foam back panel, and even the hip belts. So if you are starting out at a 45 litre, but then suddenly realise in the warmer months I'm not packing as much, you can get rid of some of these features and kind of reduce that weight to begin with on your pack. Now, I've used the Betalight from multi-days to sort of overnight bushcraft. It's become a real powerhouse, and I just know that I can just treat it with a bit of respect, but at the same time throw it around, use it as I want to, and it's just going to perform. And to kind of go on the outside, I'd probably pack something like a folding sleep pad. This would also double up as a chair if you want to, but I'm someone who tends to either want to pack like a folding pad for a seat, or even something like a bit more of a luxury, like the Chair Zero LT from Helinox. All of these weighing in between sort of 500 grams and sort of 20 grams there, so depending how lightweight you want to be, it really does depend, but chair is always a nice thing to have at the end of the day. I probably wouldn't go without one for a longer trip with friends especially. So that's everything I'm packing for my sort of ultralight overnighters or even multi-days. Again, probably just pack a few more layers and a bit more food, and that would be perfect for what I'm doing. I hope this video has been useful for everyone. If you've got any sort of thoughts or questions, just drop them in the comments below and we'll be happy to answer all of those. And in terms of in-store advice, the service centre is always open. You're welcome to come in. All of us are outdoor experts, ranging from sort of trail running to mountaineering. So please come in. We're always happy to answer those questions. And if you're not local to Hereford, shop online. We've got a wide range of equipment, especially what we've talked about today. If you've enjoyed the video, if you found it useful, just feel free to like and subscribe the video, leave some comments down below, and we'll see you in the next one.